So today I'm building in Windenburg, and this is kind of an old build. I built this a month ago, right when For Rent came out. This was around the time that I was struggling with building just in general, and I was hating everything that I was building. And this was like the first build that I made that I really liked. I think it was like the second or third build with the pack, because when a new pack comes out, I kind of usually get overwhelmed with all of the options and I want to use all of the new stuff, which sometimes I don't know how to use all the new stuff and it doesn't like match together very well. And then I'm not really focused on the shape of the build as much because I'm trying to rush the shape of the build so that I can look at all the new items. So I think I needed like some fail attempts before I made something that I really liked. And this is the one that I really liked that I made. It is sort of like I was thinking like a townhouse type build, but as cabins. I know that this is in like the forest of Windenburg, but I was also thinking of this being in, is it Granite Falls when they came out with Outdoor Retreat? That's kind of what I was like thinking for the vibe. And I'm like, I don't know if this would be like a rental, like cabins, like you rent the cabins for a weekend or if people live here. I I didn't have that in my head while I was building, but while I was editing it, it felt like people lived here and they have like a second little area that's built with an indoor pool. I think my favorite part of this build ends up being the pathways and stuff. I That's like a very like strange thing to be my favorite, especially because pathways get deleted in the game, and this one did get deleted in the game, and I had to fix it. And also, this build got lost. It was in my backup save files in my recycling bin, like, thankfully, I didn't delete my entire recycling bin because then I would have lost this build, and I was, like, really sad because I really ended up liking this one, and I had planned, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna post this one in January." It's been a while since I've built it, but I'm gonna post it finally, and I kinda pushed off posting it because it was a long video to edit. It was, like, over an hour sped up, which usually they're not that long. It was only, like, a little bit longer than my other ones, but, um, yeah, I was nervous about editing it for that reason, so I kept, like, building other things and doing that, and then this one magically disappeared, and I think it was because I was going through all my save stuff to upload my Glimmerbrook save file to, like, Patreon download, and I think that, when I replaced one of my save files, it overwrote this one, and there was another one that I lost too that I had started another, like, little winter village, and that got completely deleted, but now I have that as a backup, thankfully, so if I ever wanna finish that build too, I can have it, but luckily, I can like, upload this, and it could be on the gallery because I did not lose it forever. um, I could have easily, if say I lost this build, I could have just uploaded the video, except I was feeling a little bit, like, anxious because I couldn't take, like, a screenshot of it, and the screenshot would have had to come from my, like, recording, which would have, like, lowered the quality of the screenshot. I was overthinking it so much, so I'm glad that I was just able to find it to kinda just, like, and, like, not have to deal with any more extra anxiety about this build. But yeah, I talked through me doing all of the like outdoor wallpaper and stuff. Um, I really like the pairing that I ended up choosing. It is just the horse ranch, like wood. And I don't remember what brick that is from, but these windows from For Rent are some of the best windows that I think they've added in a really long time, or maybe they've ever added, because I love both. I love every single thing. I was gonna say both, but then I saw the other one in the front. I like all these windows. They're all really, really pretty and they work really well together too. And like they're all very different from each other, but because I don't know, they just like work better together than a lot of other windows in this game. Because I like mixing windows and stuff, and I was able to do that without having to worry about the swatches of it really. I also love the new green like roof. I like the roof trim of it. I don't really know what those like the details I put on the roof peak. I don't know what those are, but I really like how they look too. And yeah, so I'm really just mapping out where I want the pathway to go. And this is the part that I like the most, apparently. I think it looked very clean and nice. And I used these horse ranch rocks to line it, and I ended up expanding it a little bit because I do put another building in the back that has a small indoor pool. So I needed the pathways to connect to each other. I also made a pretty large like pond area over here because I didn't know what I was going to do with a lot of this terrain, and I didn't want to raise anything up too much because I had already started. And I feel like if I'm going to raise up terrain, I usually want to do that at the start or it's going to be a little bit weird. But yeah, I just place some trees around. I pick out different like flowers and those like large, like messy bush looking item from base game, and mostly just purple flowers. So the build itself is like just very dark brown. I guess I use a different brick than the one that I had shown before. It's like more of a reddish brick that I believe is from City Living. It looks like a City Living one. I have the half timber walls at the roof peaks just to like break it up a little bit. And this area is the indoor pool that I didn't really spend too much time on the inside with. I come back to it much later in the video. This video is pretty long, but I genuinely thought it was going to be way longer than it ends up turning out to be. It took a second to cough, and then when I put that recording in, it is apparent that I enjoy doing these voiceovers first thing in the morning because my voice does not usually sound like that. Or I don't think it usually sounds like that. But I like waking up and getting my coffee, and then I'm like, yeah, I could sit down and like do the voiceover right now, and then I'll be able to like do the rest of the build and have it scheduled, and then I could like start on my other build that I want to do for next week. But like I'm sure it's okay. Yeah, I put these stairs in the back because I thought that there should be an exit from the balcony. I thought it would look nice, and that's when I realized that I need to continue the path that I had started. And I did lose this path, so I don't know if I used the correct path again later on when I replaced it. I'm making a mental note that I used the horse ranch one just now because I had noticed it, but the odds of me changing it again are pretty low unless I go back in and the path is deleted again, which it may be it's likely that that is how what's going to end up happening because I still need to like take pictures of this build and stuff. And thank you for letting me just like yap for like 8 minutes about pretty much mostly unrelated stuff to the build. But I feel like if I only talked about the build, it would get like really repetitive really quickly with like every single build video and also throughout an entire like 24-minute video. Because I do very similar things to like each of my builds for like the same reasons. And I just like do different shapes for it. And I don't think I had a like an inspiration picture for this build. If I did, I would have lost it by now because it has been over a month. I believe that I didn't have one. I think I just placed some rectangles down and I just played around with the shape to make it a little bit more interesting. And I really like how it came out of eye. If someone bulldozed this and told me to recreate it without looking at a picture again, I would not be able to do it because I feel like this shape is really, really good. I could not recreate it. Like, I don't know. I like the balance of the two different square boxes on the second floor that like one is in the back and one is in the front, and then there's like roofs alternating. I really like how that looks, and I don't know how I came up with doing that. I guess I failed multiple times at a build already, and then I was able to create something that I really like. And I'm using just the same sort of landscape pieces around. I like border the pond with all of these rocks. My favorite rocks from cats and dogs. I say that every single time I use it, which is mostly every single video, I use the same rocks because I found the rocks that I like and then I don't need to use any other rocks. Like these ones are perfect. And I skipped through me placing some of these because it got very, very repetitive. And that's probably why the video was so long in recording because I placed so many of these little rocks down. And I thought it would be nice to have these rocks bordering a little area where you could have like a picnic table and a barbecue. And so that's what this like space ends up turning into. I carry over that dirt. I fill in that whole area and I use some of the new items from the newest expansion pack. I really liked some of the lights that came with it too, and so I used some of those around the lot. I've been bordering things with mushrooms a lot, and I think I called that out in my last video too. Yeah, because I did the rustic like inn and I used mushrooms to border stuff too. It just like it feels like the like an easy way to border rocks and dirt and stuff. I don't know. I really like how it ends up turning out. But yeah, I just placed some stuff in that little dirt patch. And out here, I just grabbed some tree stumps and some grass and more mushrooms. And then I quickly went into the inside. I use the same flooring and wallpaper throughout most of it. I only change it up for the bathrooms, so the bathrooms get different flooring, but everything else is the same. It's just like feels the smoothest and the easiest, especially when I'm struggling with building, which I was at this point. And there was something else I wanted to say. Oh yeah. So these are two different households. This is the first house, and then the one next to it is the second one. And I need to explain that this video goes a little bit out of order at some parts later on because I forgot to do the entire upstairs of this one that I'm currently working on, so I have to do that after I finish the entire other house. And for some reason, halfway through, I decided to zone the apartments or like the townhouses. So there's going to be some really annoying lines on the screen that like outlines where each unit is. It probably won't bother some people. It bothers me. So I understand if you can't like sit through watching it with those lines on the screen. Um, I've learned to not zone anything until I'm completely done so I don't see the lines. And also, when the pack came out, my game was extremely laggy in build mode. Like with the rental properties zoned out already. Like you'll see later on, like this is sped up to like 2.5 speed. And when I place wall candles, it like takes a few seconds to place. That's how laggy the rental properties make my game. And I don't know if it's been fixed. I assume it hasn't been. I assume that's going to just be how it is. I haven't really tried because I don't build with the rental properties zoned out already. One, because of the lines, and two, because of the lag. So at some point later in the video, there's going to be lines on the screen, and I'm going to have to ignore them. And if you don't want to ignore them, that's fine. Um, but yeah, this is the kitchen. I used the new cabinets in this because this was my way of using the new pack for this build specifically. So I pretty much got like just like really excited and I was just placing any new objects that I was finding, like that basket on top of the fridge and stuff like that. Like this pack has really, really beautiful clutter items in it. It is stuff that I've continued to use in my builds after kind of exploring the pack like this. So this is like a weird posting order because this was my first like look at the items. However, I've like done like I want to say at least like 4 builds since then that uses these items, and I've talked about the items a million times in all of those videos. But then like I can't remember what my thought process was for this build outside of just wanting to like see what new items there were. So I placed a bar in this living room space because it fit perfectly and it's a really pretty bar. And so it is against the wall, which is still functional because the Sims only need to stand like at that section of the bar, and then they place the drinks down on the other side. They should be able to pick it back up. I don't think it should be a problem. And I feel like the inside of this house is pretty dark. I don't know how many windows there are around, but it feels very, very dark, which I don't mind. It feels very cozy and lived in that way instead of like having a lot of like open windows that are like not very private. But also these windows have really beautiful like detailing on each of them. Like all of them have different like window panes than like I'm used to seeing in The Sims, and I really really like them because it's like it feels very fancy, and it makes it almost as if I don't really have to put a lot of, like, wall art around, which I usually don't really like doing, and this is supposed to be like a log cabin wall, so it really doesn't make sense for a lot of stuff to be on these walls. Like, I don't think it would fit very well, but I still put some stuff around just because, I thought I should have at least a couple of things here and there. um I have this entryway over here that I put another bookcase in, and I skipped over showing me doing the bathroom for this house, but I used a stone flooring in the bathroom instead of the wood again. And I don't know if the stone floor is from the new pack. It could be because I was doing a lot of the new items and stuff. I really like the new radiators that came with this. So if you don't have vampires and you have this pack, you can like actually have radiators. And I feel like the vampire ones definitely like they feel more like ancient and like old compared to these other ones that are probably a little bit more updated compared to like that style from vampires. There was some long pauses of me, like, scrolling through items in the editing that I, like, missed, but it's not a big deal. It wasn't super, super long. But this is the floor plan upstairs, and I forget to finish it, and then I go right into the other build after. But this I'll come back to later on in the video, and it ends up being like a kid's bedroom, that main bedroom, and a bathroom. And then down here is the second house. Um, I can't tell if it's bigger than the other one. I feel like they were around the same size. It should be like about the same, just like a different sort of floor plan, which I guess I haven't really noticed until now, but both have two bedrooms and they both have like two bathrooms. I'm pretty sure the one down here is a half bath, but there is a bigger bathroom upstairs anyway. And this is the kitchen for the second house. You can see the lines I was talking about. They might not bother you. They bother me. I do not like looking at them, but I also can't build with the grid on because the grid also bothers me and distracts me. So, I don't know how I was doing this. I don't know. I really don't remember what I was thinking when I was building. I guess I had already zoned them and I didn't want to unzone them or something. I'm not really sure. I used the same cabinets as the other kitchen, so it's like a little bit repetitive. It's just like a different layout, and this kitchen definitely feels a lot bigger. It feels a lot brighter. There are like four different windows in this one compared to the other one that only had like one on like the exterior wall, and that was it. And then it leads into the dining room, which now I'm realizing I don't think the other build has a dining room. I believe I have a table in the kitchen, though. I don't think I would have forgotten a kitchen table in that build. And I can't even remember, even though I just did this voiceover for this, I can't remember what the kitchen is laid out like in the other one. But I grabbed some of these cabinets for dishes. I have a fireplace in here. I thought that it blended in really well together. And then it flows into the living room. I had to put the the TV on an angle because I really didn't know how to like do this floor plan. If I didn't want it on an angle, I guess I could have closed off the stairs a little bit more, but like I don't know, the a staircase that's completely closed in by walls sounds very scary to me. And I do that a lot, but for this one I didn't. And so I just have the TV on a little bit of an angle. And I think I used like a lot more like contemporary looking furniture in this build than is normal for me. Um I definitely like some of this furniture I can use in some of my more like medieval looking builds, but I think it's mostly just this couch that is making it feel a lot more like modern day than my usual builds. But it's a really beautiful couch, and I really like switching up from doing like very old fashioned looking builds to being able to use some of the other furniture I really like that usually doesn't fit in that well because this couch is really, really beautiful with like the design of it and the blanket thrown over. And like a lot of the new furniture that's been coming out looks a lot better than some of the old stuff to the point where I wish that they would try and edit some of the old stuff because some of it just does not work with like the standard that they have for the new items, which I guess is fine. It's been almost out for like 10 years, right? Because The Sims 4 released in like September of like 2014, and I remember that cuz that's I graduated from high school in 2014. So that's the only reason I could like remember when The Sims 4 came out exactly. But I did buy it on release and I built the ugliest house ever. It was a square modern box with an ugly red rug that took up like half of the space, and it was like an open floor plan with just like it was like probably the worst build ever created. It was the worst build I've ever created. And then over the years, I've definitely developed a style that is more enjoyable and also a style that I want to build more often in than when I was like first starting out. Because when I was like first got The Sims, I was mostly a gameplay person and create a sim. So I would download like so much like Create a Sim CC, and I would make these like elaborate gameplay storylines, which isn't really something I do anymore. I just can't really stay engaged with gameplay the way that I used to be able to when the game first came out. But building I can because that's kind of why I buy packs is pretty much just for like new build items and stuff. I would love to one day try out doing a CC build, but every time I try and download CC, I feel like I don't have enough. And then I like it's kind of like what I was saying at the start of the video, where when I have new items, I get very overwhelmed with wanting to use it all. And that's kind of what's happened to me in the past when I've tried build CC. Like I downloaded a bunch of stuff that was like old Sims medieval style items and I wanted to use all of it and I never was able to finish a build with it, and I've since deleted all my build CC because it's been over a year since that happened. It was like before I started this YouTube channel, which is over a year ago now, so it was a long time ago. I talked through the upstairs as usual. It's very simple though. I just like did a bedroom. I did a little study area over here because I didn't want to do another bedroom for here. It is very dark, very cozy. Maybe has the Kyber glow as my friend Molly calls it, which is really just, I think, me making the lighting slightly more yellow and making my builds incredibly dark with almost no natural light inside. Yeah. And then this one is the half bathroom. So there's a full bathroom downstairs, but this one only has a half bath up here. I really liked using that snowy escape rug throughout this build. It felt very like cozy and warm and inviting when I was placing it. And this is the first house, so yeah, it was split up a little bit weird because I completely forgot about it, I guess. But I love oh my god, my voice just cracked. I love this bed so much. It's really, really pretty. Yeah, it's a new bed because I see like the design on the headboard matches some of the other stuff that was in the pack. And I finally am letting myself use the horse ranch sink, which is my favorite, after using the new sink in the pack over and over again. Yeah, that was me just trying to use all the new items, but I've since found kind of my favorite key items in the pack, so I don't just use everything just for the sake of using it. And this is where I noticed the lag of me placing the wall lights down a little bit. I would not recommend building with zones on ever again. Um, Even like these blue lines are just like covering some of the items, which I don't like at all. I understand. I feel like they had to make it so that you could tell which is which, but it's just like so many lines. It's overwhelming for me. And this is the little kid's bedroom. I really liked the sign, and I made sure I squeezed it in. I sized it down very tiny. I haven't play tested this yet, so some things might be moved around when I do upload it to the gallery, which should be on Thursday. This is my second post for this week. I won't post 2 times a week again in a little while, I think. I'm uploading 6 builds a month now, and so I planned it out so that it's like 6 builds, and this is the double post. The only double post for this month, though. Yeah. Next week, I think I am going to be done with my Palea build. So if you haven't played Palea before, I got really obsessed with it. And so I've been playing that a lot. So I'm recreating a house that is in that game. And recreating stuff is really hard for me. So if I don't finish that, that'll just have to be a different build week. But that's the whole video for this part, at least. Now here are the screenshots. I split them up into the first house, which is this part, and then the second house. I do notice that a lot of the walls are a little sparse, and I probably could have added some more decor to the rooms, but I feel like it's too late now. I'm just accepting how it is. But thank you so much for watching. I have other videos that are appearing on screen if you want to take a look and support me as I am on my way to YouTube partner. So yeah, thank you. Bye.